What is an athlete? An athlete is someone who surrenders himself to a greater purpose by sacrificing day in and day out in order to attain a dream. An athlete feeds on doubts and sets goals fueled by fear. When the game is gone and gallons of sweat have been poured, everything that you thought you are and everything that you were told you are just vanishes. How do you recover from that? How do you discover a new identity when everything that mattered in your life has gone? My name is Keith Mitchell. I played linebacker in the NFL most of my career in New Orleans. So just allow yourself to just kind of go on this journey with us in this space right here.
Football and yoga are two different worlds, but together they define who former NFL linebacker Keith Mitchell has become.
I don't know where I would be without the practice of yoga. When I was able to combine the meditation to the actual, practice, it was life-changing.
Yoga really is a physical therapy. A mind, body, spirit therapy, but it's an amazing therapy for those of us who are performing at our jobs, whether that's behind a desk or on a field.
Mitchell had been performing on the field since a young age, despite his parents' concerns.
Growing up, he asked us if he could play football. We said no because we didn't want him to play because of the injuries and things like that. But when he got into middle school, we finally told him he could play.
I was like, I can do this. I made a goal at a young age. I'm going to have a choice of whatever school I want to go to in the country. And I did. Texas A&M was my choice.
After being one of the top defenders in college football, Mitchell expected to be chosen early in the 1997 draft.
It was real intense. You're watching, and these players are getting picked, and Keith Mitchell's name has not been called yet.
The 7th round comes. Coach Cower, he called me. He's like, I don't know what happened. Why'd you slip? I have you on my board as well as a kid from Texas. So right now, the way I'm feeling, disappointment and things like that, I was like, you'd probably be better off taking another kid. I had all these types of accolades and then to not get drafted. I didn't know if I even wanted to play football anymore.
Then the voice of reason called, a man who reminded Mitchell of his father.
When I saw Keith, I saw a guy that had great motor. He played hard all the time. And when I see people like that, I like to have them on my team. I really do.
Coach Dicka, he's like, you know what? I don't know why you slipped, and I don't care. He's like, I want you to come play for me. And you know what, Coach? If I can play for you, I can play for anybody.
Whatever they want to do today, we coming all out, baby. Check it out, check it out.
I fell in love with the food, the culture, the town, the team. Became a starter my rookie year. Went to my first Pro Bowl. I loved it there.
Mitchell spent 5 seasons in New Orleans, 1 in Houston, then moved on to Jacksonville, where one play changed his life.
In Jacksonville, which was the last team I played for, in the midst of making a tackle that I've made at this point in my life 1,000 times. Maybe I led too much with the top of my head or what have you, but nevertheless, as I hit him, I fell to the ground. My first notion that went through my mind is, this is embarrassing. I'm this tough linebacker in the NFL, all pro linebacker in the NFL. I'm laying vulnerable on the ground.
Brandon, we have a Jaguars player hurt on the field, and I think that's Keith Mitchell, and he looks out, Brian.
I'm on my back, and I'm like, get up, get up, and my body's not responding.
Diagnosed with a spinal contusion, it was several days before Mitchell regained any kind of movement. At that time, his doctor went over different therapy options.
We really couldn't do much for rehab because I had limited, to non-mobility. It's like, I'm gonna talk to you about yoga, meditation. It's like, okay, yoga, meditation.
Because yoga acts as a physical therapy that you're administering, you really have time on your mat to figure out what can I do to work around this, to encourage it to have as much mobility as it's able to now. And it takes care of our joints, which is really important. Obviously, for an impact sport, that's where a lot of the damage is done.
So just maintain this breath a couple more times.
Mitchell retired shortly after his injury and is now a certified yoga instructor. He believes that because of yoga, his mobility is back to normal.
My journey truly began when that injury happened. To create a commitment to self, to move past it. I love it where I am. I see life on a whole different spectrum, and I'm so grateful for it. One big inhale, thank you so much for sharing the practice, accepting the practice. Namaste.